Hello everyone. Let's do a quick mic check and camera check. Can you see me and am I audible? Can anyone just please respond in the chat box? Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you so much. So we'll probably start in a couple of minutes. Just wait for 2 more minutes. Still people are joining. So we'll start very soon. Thanks for waiting again. Okay, so let's start for the today's session. First of all, thank you very much. Thank you everyone for joining this evening. The topic that we will discuss today is data analysis using Power BI. So let's start. Okay, before that, first of all, let's clear some of the ground rules. We'll discuss how are we going to interact today is basically we'll use this chat functionality. I'm pretty sure everyone is aware of this. So if you have any questions, you can anytime you can ask in the chat, and we'll just respond it as whenever we can. And at the end of the session also we'll have the Q&A session, so you can actually ask all those questions there also. Okay, so before starting, I just want to know, an idea about where you're calling today. Any like country, city name? I know it's a different geographical area, so okay, great. India, Philippines, Singapore, India, Scotland, Indonesia. Nice, I can see India, Indonesia a lot. Philippines, okay, great. Australia, wow. That's great. That's great. So thank you guys again for joining from different areas. I mean, for some of the people, it's a morning, so I know. So again, thanks. Uh, so okay, let's start by let's start with this first. Let's have it. I mean, quick look of who we are and what we do basically. So we are Exaltius. We are a Singapore-based company. Mostly we deal with the technologies, the core technology that what's there in the market right now. We use a lot of data to do our analytical stuffs. So we are more into analytics, into data part actually. So our expertise lies in the data engineering, the data pipelining, data science complete, the big data portion, as well as all the cloud technologies. So and we provide again software solutions using the machine learning algorithms. We build AI platforms as well, again for the users, for the it could be B2B as well. So that was more on solution side. In terms of the training, from I mean, since its inception, we conducted 600 plus almost trainings across Southeast Asia regions. So it could be your online as well as the physical classroom trainings also. Uh, we have a pool of experienced teachers which are actually from industry. So it's very different. It's not only the academic things that we teach. We actually solve the real business cases, the real data, and then we work on that. So it will give you, I mean, everyone a feel of the how the actually what is the actual business problem is. So this is all. So all the our trainings are mostly towards this our data science, data analytics, visualizations, cloud. So in these areas we do. And some of our clients, if you see here, it's just some of the names that what I mentioned here. Maybe it related to the banks, the UOB DBS Bank, which is very much like is based in the Singapore as well. Then if you talk about the universities, we cover a lot of universities to teach faculties and then students to help them in this their career path. Then talking about the retail as well, retail outlets we have, so we cover a lot of be it corporate or the retail clients, we do trainings for them. Some of just a glimpses, the pics if you see here, it can be whether it can be students or the corporates, firms like Google as well. So we conducted all these sessions again based on the market demand. So it can be customized, or the sessions that what we have, we conduct the usual ones also we do. So this was about our company. Today, for let's talk about today's speaker. So my name is Pranjal, and I am co-founder of this company Exaltius. And my master's I did from like in business analytics as well as in data science from NUS, here National University of Singapore. Most of my experience lies in analytics sides, with working with the different domains, retail products, mostly finance, education as well. And I do some kind of consultancy with the universities here, in terms of how industries are doing and what is the current market needs. Also, I do a lot of corporate corporate trainings in data analytics and science across all these regions here. And here is my LinkedIn profile. Basically, you guys can connect. And I am actually fortunate enough today. My colleague Gauri is also here with me. She's data science consultant with us. She had done her MSc in economics in stats and mathematics. Basically, it's a lot of experience in analytics, again, working with different industries, mostly in the insurance firm. And she's like, she's more interested into data science and analytics. So again, you guys can join us on LinkedIn. It would be great to connect, right? So that was a little about the introduction. Let's move into the actual topic for today. So we're talking about the data now. So let's start with the data. What is data, right? So data is, as you see, it's just a collection of facts, numbers, words, something kind of tangible that you see, right? So there are two things. It can be qualitative as well and quantitative. So quantitative, when we say you can actually count it, can be discrete or the continuous numbers, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you can say. So these are the data that you can see directly. But qualitative also, like it was great fun, right? So it was great fun itself is it's kind of a quality, right? You can't quantify it, but it's again something meaning is there, right? So meaning is there, so it's again a kind of data. And all this data, you see, it's coming from the different sources. So maybe probably it could be your website data, your what we do on online purchasing, use the social media, all the data, the different mobile data. So these are the sources from where the data is generating. Now, if you just talk about how much data do we create every single day, right? I mean, we use every day, we create the data, but we are actually not aware of this. So we're talking about just a number. So this is the number. It's a 2.5 quintillion. I mean, you will take some time to actually count the number of zeros, right? So this is the data amount of data that we are generating every day, right? So if we talk about a day in a data, so this picture clearly showing that, okay, whatever the different sources, the different platforms that we are using, be it emails, be it Twitters, with Facebooks, you upload the videos, we upload the audios, use different connected devices. Again, thanks to the Internet of Things, again, why everything is connected with the internet, your Android devices are connected, and that's why we are generating the data in this amount, right? So again, thanks to technology. Now, we had the data, right? Now, why there is significant growth in data science, basically, and analytics? What was the need? So if you just figure it out, that what was the reason, we could see there are four reasons. First is your explosion of data volume. So this graph is showing that just a decade ago, there was not a volume, the data was not in that much, right? That the amount was not that much. So it was very easy to handle also. But right now, from 2010 onwards, you see this graph like increasing like sharply, right? So there was the data just got exploded, and there was a need, there was a demand to handle this kind of data, where to store it, how to handle it. So there was a requirement, right? So that's why data science and analytics again came into picture. Second is, as I discussed, the devices connected to the internet. So again, the IoT devices, be it enterprise IoT devices, be it the government one or the consumer IoT devices, you see the number of installed devices in billions, how much we are actually installing, right? So these are the data that what because of the connected devices we are generating. So again, this is the connected because of the IoT, uh, the data science, there was a need of data science. Third one is the your storage capacity. Now when talk about the storage capacity, just think about 10 years back, right? When what was the cost that you bought a thumb drive, you can compare the cost of that time with now. So if you see, the price is actually decrease, it is actually every day it's decreasing, right? So that is the reason now it's very cheap. You can store the data, large amount of data within a very, you have to spend very less amount of money. That is why the storage capacity is now very good. So again, you can use your data platforms to do the things. And most important, I would say, is the interest, right? So if you see this, the your artificial intelligence and the machine learning, the interest in these two things actually, uh, it's got picked up, right? And deep learning is also, but as not as compared to the machine learning AI. So now the reason is, everyone is talking about these things, and they want to learn, they want to move into these areas, be it of whatever they are working in, any domain, doesn't matter at all. So that is why when there is interest, the people is starting thinking about that line, right? So I'm sure you have heard about this thing. Data is the new oil, right? What is this? So basically, everyone is comparing the data with the oil. The reason is, again, oil was like, Gulf countries has the oil, so they are like rich in resources. So those who are rich in oil, that means they are rich. So now, but nowadays the trend is already changed, right? Those who has the data, the company who has a lot of data, they are actually rich. So that's why there is a comparison. A lot of people talked about it. There was I mean, in the paper also, in the Economist, there was a statement that the world's most valuable research is no longer oil but data. So all those companies, big companies, Facebook, Google, Amazon, anyone, so Microsoft, they have the data and they use those data. They get insights, they take insights from that, and then they utilize it, and they are rich in that sense, right? So that is how the data is more valuable. Okay, question for you guys: data equals insight. Is it true or false? I mean, you can use, just you can write true or false uh, in the chat. Sorry. Okay, true, false. Okay, I can see true, false. Come on, guys, some more response. False. Also, that means some mixture, right? Okay, great. So the answer here is, it's a false, right? It's a false. Data is not equals insight. Now, for this one, I would probably go back a step. My one of my slide earlier. Yes, this one. We talk about the data is the new oil. There was a reason why some of the people compared the data with the oil. So oil is in its raw form. Actually, it's when it is unpure, it's not clean. It's not valuable. once you clean it, once you refine it, clean it, and then you actually convert into, different chemicals, different things of some, different products, then only it makes it gains a value. So that is how, when you clean it, it makes a value. Similarly, when the data is in raw form, it is actually unclean, right? So there's no use. You can't make out of anything out of that data, right? But when you clean it, when you refine the data, when you clean it, then only it is you can use that. So all these companies are actually taking the raw data and then cleaning it. They are doing some kind of data pre-processing, then they are building some analytical model on top of that, and then they do. So that's how it makes more valuable. And that is they use the insight. So that's why insight is actually the last thing. Data, when you say, it's more on the raw data. So that is why data is not equals insight. Okay, next let's talk about analytics. So now we saw the data. What is data? Now analytics, what is this, right? So analytics is, so this is a wiki definition. It's a discovery, interpretation, and communication of meaningful patterns in data. So again, the thing is that we are here to see the insights, right? So we try to find out the hidden meaning. When you talk about the meaningful pattern, that means the hidden thing, what is inside the data, we try to discover it. So that's why analytic is actually, we use a lot of analytical method technique to get those things, right? Now, if you see the data workflow, basically how you to start with the data. So first, what you do, you develop some kind of hypothesis for your analysis. That's what you call it as frame, right? So once you did that, then you get the data and then you prepare it. So it's a kind of more on the data pre-processing. Now, uh, that means you have to select, you have to import the data, you have to clean the things, right? When you have also, you have to remove the unwanted things, all those kind of thing, all those parts, all those steps comes into the data preparation. Then you will analyze this. When you talk about analyze, means you will keep that into store into a structured form. You will visualize with using the different charts, and then you complete your all the kind of analysis that you want to do. Once that is done, you will interpret means, again, you'll get the insights from your analysis. What are the three things or four things, what are the important things are there that you can see from your graph. That's what kind of interpretation that you do. And once it's ready, then you communicate to your audience, to your management team, right? So that's a last part again. So this is a complete data workflow, and everyone, whether with any domain, we are using the same workflow with the data while we handle it. Okay, so this actually graph is showing how the analytical capabilities, how it get matured, and what are the different collective insights that we get. So if you see, starting from the raw data to the last of the optimization, there are a lot of steps that happened actually. Starting from what happened, that we earlier used to, just get the descriptive analysis. Okay, what happened actually with the data, right? So we used to see the data, and then we said, okay, what was happened earlier. Now, using again another technique, some of the advanced methods, we decided why did it happen. We decided to see the root cause of these things, right? So it was why, what to why, and what will happen. Now we are doing some kind of predictive analysis, like tomorrow what will happen, tomorrow what will the weather forecast, right? Based on again the your weather data from the past historical data, right? Tomorrow whether the flight will be delayed or not, again you will see the history of the data, right? So you are actually, what will happen, you are predicting using again the machine learning model. But now the things is, again, with the help of technologies, what you are doing, you are actually optimizing it. You are recommending the things to customer, what is the best that could happen, right? There are a lot of options are there, but what is the best thing that you should do? So those kind of things, the recommendation is actually important. That's what you get the, that's what the capability actually lies of this, all these analytical tools. So this is a very interesting thing. Now, uh, when we see about, they are recommending the things, right? So they are predicting, they are recommending. Now, all these industries, are using this data, are using the data in their different use cases, different business cases, be it travel, be it marketing, be it your healthcare, your social media, automation, sales, banks, credit, finance, everywhere. What they are doing, they are actually trying to please their customer, try to attract the customers. They are recommending the different things to them, which is best for them actually. So this is very important. They know they have this 360-degree customer view, right? So that is very important for all the industries, just because of the data. Now, a very famous quote by Steve Jobs: "It's not the customer's job to know what they want." And actually, this is true. If you really think that, okay, probably a lot of examples you can see, you get different promotion emails, right? So it's like not everyone is getting those emails, right? So how they do some kind of filtering. They send only these kind of marketing emails to those people who they think that these are relevant to them and they will buy, right? So those kind of, again, recommendation prediction they use, and they are using the second data, using again analytical and tools and capabilities. So that was your data part. Now again, quick check. So modeling is the first step in data analytics, followed by data cleaning. True, false? Okay, false, false. Oh, anyone true? Oh, okay, okay, great guys. Yeah, so it's definitely false. Data cleaning is the first part after your data acquisition. Once you get the data, the first thing that what you will do is you will do the data cleaning part, right? It's a kind of data pre-processing. Modeling is actually when you want to build some kind of model on the clean data set, then when it comes, right? So definitely this is false. Uh, let's do this. Okay, so now analytics part, if you see, now it is comprised of two important: visualization and storytelling, right? So let's talk about this. But before that, I want to discuss a little bit about visual analytics. What is this visual analytic means? As it is written, it just help people see and understand their data, right? So a quick question again: how many lines are there? Can you just write quickly? Let's see. Fast response, please. Can you count and write how many lines are there? Okay, okay. I can see different. Someone got 9 also. 8, 14. Oh my God, Monica. Okay. Okay, 8, 9, 8, 9. Okay, so probably people are some are right also. So it's good. But I will ask this thing again. The same question. Now, how many lines are there? Right. So you see the difference, right? You see how powerful is this visual system is. What I did, I just used some of the different visual techniques, highlighted certain things, making the sizes bigger, just to, so that people can actually see that. And that's the answer. So that's how you use the visualization techniques to understand the things much better and much faster also, right? So that's how visual system works. Now the cycle of visual analysis is very clear. Once you assign a task, what you do, you get the data, and then based on the data you choose the some which is the best visual mapping for you for that data, right? Then you will view that data in that, using that visual mapping. Then you develop some insight and you act accordingly, right? So it's a complete visual analysis. It's a cyclic thing, right? Now, so let's talk about again the visualization. What is this data visualization means? Now it's as simple as the word, like word itself. The two words are there, right? It's the presentation of data in pictorial or graphical format. Now, it enables the audience actually to see the data visually. Now, again, converting from the CSV and the Excel files into some kind of graphical format, right? It's very simple. Now, a lot of visualization types are there, but you have to decide for your data which graph is the suitable, right? So if you just like to, if you want to talk about the comparison between two among, some of the items or over time, and you have different charts. You have the line charts, bar charts, column chart. If you have over time, then you have this again a different kind of line charts, your circular area chart, all those. If you have, if you want to show some kind of distribution between single variable and multiple variable, you have different histograms, scatter plot charts as well. If you have some kind of composition, everyone, I'm pretty sure you have used the pie charts, right? So all those things, you have part to whole, all these pie charts and waterfall chart, these things you can use. When you have some relationship, you can use bubble charts, scatter charts, right? So again, charts are available in any tool, right? You have different options to choose, but again, you have to, based on the data volume and the data type, you have to decide which chart is the best for you, right? So Again, one quick one, which type of visualization we should never be used in a business setting? Remind it just as per your, okay, 3D. Yeah, great. Great guys. So we should actually avoid 3D charts. It doesn't make any sense. We'll see why, right? So the answer is we use a lot of bar chart, line chart, pie chart, but we should actually avoid the 3D chart. It's just avoid it. So okay, so for couple of examples, like suppose just I mentioned, like pie charts is best suitable when you have some few categories, like here 3-4 categories are there, so you can see it. But here a lot of categories are there. Definitely pie chart is not a good option. So you have to use this appropriately. Probably for this type of thing, you use this bar chart, right? So again, you have to decide, okay, which one is your best according to the data. You have the stacked bar chart as well when you have categories and subcategories as well. So it will help to get the more information in a single chart. You have a line chart if you want to compare, see the trends. So you have that kind of very clear visibility on this. You have the scatter plot when you want to compare two or different measures, or you want to see the pattern, you want to see what is the trend between them. So all this for you use the scatter plot charts. Now a little bit discussion on how do you like or dislike about some of the visualization that I will show now. Okay, this one, just say it is good or bad. Just how you see it. Is it good visualization or bad? Okay. Okay, good, bad. I got two. What about others? Okay, it's a mixture of good or bad. Okay. Okay. See, guys. I mean, I would say for my see again, it's a personal opinion. For my opinion, this graph is clearly showing the different things what it want to show. It's very clear. If you take just any one, just take the left one. What is the sales, cost, profit, and ROI? It's using different kinds of the bar charts as well, the line charts as well. The trend actually you can see. So this is clearly it is signifying what it is saying that communicating what you want to see. The other one is also product profit, same thing, using different colors, using different charts is very clear, right? So you can say probably it's a good one. Okay, maybe on the right one you can mention the values as what we have in the left one. So left one is more informative as compared to the right? This one, is it good or bad? For me, again, it's a very neat, very clean, very well aligned things. KPIs, what it is mentioning is very clear. uh, Good selection of the colors as well. So I would say it's again a good dashboard basically. So what we call this even is as dashboard, right? So this is very nice actually. But definitely you don't want to create something like this, right? This is again a pie chart. Everyone use pie chart, but again based on the data volume you have to decide whether which is the best chart that you want to use. So pie chart is not good for this one. Or similarly, or this like this is a 3D. Again, that's why I mentioned 3D chart, you should avoid it. I mean, you will not get anything right out of it. So that is how you should avoid this kind of graphs as well. Or probably this, is it good or bad? I mean, if you see a lot of text are there, a lot of different images, which is not required at all. It's overwhelming of the things, right? So again, it's a dashboard, but not good at all. You don't want to see even for more than 2 seconds. So that's how you have to decide. You have to see what all things are important. Just put those, right? It should be very, very easy to see, understand. Now, core fundamental of data visualization is, what is this? What do you think? Uh, Simplicity. Okay. B. Yes, definitely. Great, guys. So it is simplicity, right? Not empathy, not volume, definitely. So it's a simplicity. It should be very simple to understand, because you don't know who all your audience are, right? So it should be simple to understand exactly. Okay, let's talk about a little bit upon insights. I'll give you a very good example of this. What is insights are again when you talk about the fact is what the data that you have is actually a fact, right? What you do, you observe the data, you do some kind of analysis. After that you will get some insights, and then using those insights you take some actions, right? So this is how a small cycle is there. Now, what this insight is, okay? So insight is again, you are uncovering some kind of hidden meaning, the shared meaning what it has, right? And that you want to take some action on it. So that's what we call it as insight, right? Now, very nice example. Everyone here using Netflix, right? Now, just see how this data and data analytics, all these things and insights is actually helping the companies. Now, there is a finding that what we call is again a fact. What is the finding? That customers are not watching the entire video to its full length. Whenever you see any series or any series, you go to episode 1, you you watch, and at the end you actually skip the things, right? So they are watching just 90 to 95%. You also do same. What are the insights? That the parts that they are not watching are the title role and the end credits, right? So the start or the last part, the end credits, that usually you skip it, right? So whatever the recommendation is actually to introduce the skip intro at the beginning. So that's why you actually click that skip intro and you just directly go to the video, the actual movie at the beginning of the title and watch next at the beginning of the end credit. So you don't have to wait for all the end credits, right? You just episode 1 directly, you can switch to episode 2 just by clicking on the watch next. And then what they did is actually they set up this benchmark as 90 to 95% watched complete as completed. So that's actually the change in their business operations, that's in their business strategy. So that's how impactful these things are. Once you get the insights, you use that into some actionable insights, some actionable actions, right? So that's the thing. That's how you use. It's a very nice example again for finding insight and the recommendation. Now, this is the just what I was trying to explain. This is skip intro part, and the next episode there is your option. So you want to, you can see the watch credits. Otherwise, you can just click on the next episode, right? So that's how things are doing. Now we discussed about data analytics, some visualization. What is storytelling now? Storytelling is again, it's a art basically. It's a technique that how you share something, right? How to share the story. You try to actually build empathy with the audience, right? You try to access them emotionally, and that's what it's an art basically, right? It's a storytelling art, we call it as. Now data tells the real story. I agree with this, right? I agree with this. Data tells the real story because everything is inside the data. Now how you are presenting it, it's up to you. So I'll just discuss quickly what are the 4 elements of storytelling part. So I mean, storytelling, you have different options, right? But you have to see what are the steps that you need to actually take care of. What are the certain things? First is again very important, which is know your audience. Who and why? Who are they? Their background probably. It will help you actually to resonate with them. So that's why you should know who your audience are. Second is your know your story. Like know your purpose and know your data, basically why you are here, what story you want to tell them, right? That should you should know. And what is the data? Because this is your data, right? You know it, everything about the data, so you should know the data. So that's how you should know your story. With they should I mean, again, with the help of purpose and data, you should know your story. Third is your know your message. When you talk about know your message, that means how you are crafting your message, right? What is the structure behind it, how you are exploring the data first, and how in which sequence again you are telling it, right? That's how you should craft your message, you should know. And the last but not the least is your know your tool. That means which tool, which technology, which platform you are using it to share the story, right? So it should be, because all the your story, different story, unique, they are unique story, right? So you have to be very specific with the tools as well, because you are sharing some kind of unique things. So these are very important. I mean, 4 elements of the data storytelling part. Again, why stories? Because they're emotional. I would say they're memorable, they're impactful. I mean, you can compare. Whenever you hear any story, it's much easier for you to remember as well. You can connect certain things. That's why. So these are the things. Now, things story, not charts. Again, for a good storyteller, you have to think like that, right? A very, I mean, what I would say, you can actually trust on this. Gartner. Gartner is a company again, which is not biased at all. No one can actually buy it, but actually it gives us the true picture of the market worldwide. So this is the recent one, the January 2020 graph. If you see the leader in the BI platform, the Microsoft, which is Power BI, Microsoft Power BI is on the top, right? And Tableau is on the second. I mean, 2 years back in 2018, Tableau was actually on the top, but now from last year also Microsoft just seeded, and then this year also. So it's the same. We had on the top leaders are our Microsoft Power BI, Tableau, and then comes the different, all these players, right? So what we will do today is, that was the initial part, everything. Now my colleague Gauri will take you guys through this first part, Microsoft, what is Microsoft Power BI, and then probably we'll discuss more about that. And please feel free to ask any questions in the chat. If you have any, we'll discuss it later. So over to you, Gauri.
Hello, everyone, and thank you, Pranjal, for passing this over to me. And I'll just confirm that everybody can see my screen. Just a moment, I'll start sharing my screen. And everyone, please confirm that you can see my screen and hear me. Just hit a yes in the chat so that I'm aware. All right. So as Pranjal mentioned, that the tool that we are taking into consideration today will be Power BI. So let's look into, just a moment. Yeah, let's look into the components of Power BI. So we have the Power BI service, we have Power BI desktop, which we'll see today in action. We do have the Power BI mobile, gateway, as well as developer. So we'll not get into all of these individually. Looking into the architecture diagram of Power BI, you can see that you have the Power BI desktop, and this is the Power BI service, which is again the cloud-based app that we have. We have the Power BI mobile as well, which you can install this app in your phone and then look into the reports. So next is how is the experience of our data with Power BI? So data can reside in cloud or on-premise. So we don't need to worry about that. We just need to connect the data to Power BI and then get the insights out of it, taking into consideration all the visualizations that we can draw from it, and then finally collaborate with the team members and share the reports with them. So what are the capabilities of Power BI? We can access, yeah, somebody just raised a hand. I'll just pause for a bit and yeah, sure. Yeah. So Monica, may I just know that what is the part you didn't understand? All right, I'll just go a bit slower from here. So the capabilities of Power BI is that you can access and connect to 70 plus data sources. So you don't need to worry about where the data resides. You can just connect to the data source, and Power BI provides a wide range of connection facilities. Next is you can clean and match up your data. So Power BI provides the capability of data modeling, wherein you can clean the data and mash up the data over here. And I had also got this question from someone before when Pranjal was taking the session, that is there a standard way of cleaning the data? Well, the answer is no. There won't be a standard way to clean the data. It all depends on which data you need and what are the things that you want to show out of the data. So I have some chats in the questions in the chat. Yeah, sure, Monica. I'll just flip to what are you talking about? This one? This one? Yeah. So these are the components of Power BI that I was talking about. So you have Power BI service, which is the cloud-based service that we have, the Power BI desktop, which we'll see it in action today. And you also have the Power BI mobile apps, gateway, and developer. So this is just the components of Power BI that we have. Thank you so much. So let's go to where we left. So yeah, we can clean and mash up our data. And we explained that you can, clean your data in any way you want. Basically, it depends on what you want to get out of the data and what you actually want to visualize, like tell the story out of that data to your audience. Now, there are plenty of filters and drill down capabilities in Power BI. You can even ask questions to Power BI with the Q&A tool that we'll see in action in the later session. So you can drill through the data and get to the insights that you want to show the audience. You can also visualize your data. There are various visualization capabilities. There are custom visualizations. You can import those visualizations into Power BI from the Microsoft Marketplace, and then you can actually show any visualization that you want to. So there are a wide range of visualization capability of Power BI. So the last but not the least is obviously to share the report that you have created with the audience as well as the team members that you are working with. So that is how you bring your story to life with the data. So in a nutshell, Power BI is actually capable of building custom visualizations. It has an excellent integration with Excel. You can have natural language processing in it. You can ask questions and Power BI actually gives you the answer. And you can create real-time dashboards as well. So we will see how we actually can integrate Excel with Power BI in real time, and let's get started with the Power BI in action. In the meantime, I have few questions. I'll just address those questions. Yes, you can export the output. There is a way to do that. Yes, you can create real-time dashboard as well. All right, so I'll address the other questions at the end. So let me get started with the Power BI and see it in action. So what are we going to see? We are going to import data and shape the data. We are going to see some of the aggregation summarization. We are going to see frequency analysis. We'll then highlight the critical data and see what story we can actually tell from our data. Next, we are going to have a sales data, which is nothing but a CSV file with just numbers. And from that, we'll actually build some metrics, which will be the total sales, total profit, etc. We'll see the sales trend, and then the sales by country, top 10 sales by city, and then profit by country. We'll have map visualizations, etc. So let's get started. So the data that we have today, just a moment. So the data that we have today is an Excel file. You can see that we just have numbers and text over here. We can't really, get any insights out of this data until and unless we load into a visualization tool like Power BI and finally get insights out of this data. So at the end of the session today, we are going to create a report like this. So let's get started. So this is the Power BI report canvas that we have. This is where we create all the visualization over here. So let's get started and add the data over here. So we have a text file or a CSV file which we are going to import. So it takes a while to import. So you can see, okay, it has got loaded. So based on the first 200 rows, it shows us how the data looks like. And whatever I showed you in the Excel file, it looks kind of same. And we are going to load this data. Now, this is the ribbon, the file, home, insert, and you have various options over here. You have the filters pane to the right, the visualization pane, wherein you can select all the visualizations you want to. And you also have this fields option. So once the data is loaded, you can see the fields that are there, which is the columns in the data. Now, the next thing that we do after loading the data is to see the data and see if the data types have been loaded properly. So this is the second pane or the second canvas wherein you can see the data in a tabular format. So if we click on the row ID, we can see the data type is whole number, which is fine. Order ID is again a text, which is fine again. But if we look into the order date, we see that the order date is a text. We are going to change this to a date, because obviously if this is a text, we are not going to, get proper results. And this is part of data cleaning that we do. Now it all depends on what data you have and what you want to clean. Now I'm also going to change this ship date to a date category. If we look into the other columns, we can see that all the other columns have been loaded properly. All right. So next we are going to the visualization or the report canvas. Now you see we have all the data, and we can also see that the date that we changed has now got a calendar icon over here, which shows that we have successfully changed it to a date type. Now the first thing that we should do while creating a report is to first add a title to the report. So it's pretty easy. From the home button, you have to just click on the text box you have. I'm just going to resize it a bit and then add a good formatting to this. I'll add a title first. Let me keep it in caps. So it should be Global Superstore. And then I am going to add a background to this, maybe a blue color, lighter shade of blue. And then I'm going to increase the size of this text from this. I'll make it 36 and then make it bold over here. Okay, now this looks good. I'm also going to change this color to a white. All right, now I'm keeping this space blank because I'll add some filters over here. So I'm just not extending this text title more. So we have added the title to our report. Next is we'll add some metrics card over here. So this is a sales data we have, and the first metric that we would like to show in this data would be a total sales. So we have to select the card visualization from this visualization pane, and then resize this again, resize this and add sales over here. So I've seen that I've got 12.64 millions of sales. So I'm going to add a bit of formatting to this. First of all, I'll add a title over here, which will be total sales, and then make it central aligned and increase the size to say 20 points. And then I'm going to add a subtle background to this, which might be a lighter shade of blue, looks good, okay. And then I'm going to add a border of 15 or maybe 5. All right. Now I have already got this metric card. Now you can see that I have already added the total sales, but then still it shows a category of sales over here. I don't need this category. I'm going to decrease the size. I'm going to switch off this category, and also I'll increase this size to 32 point, the text size, and resize this accordingly. So we have created one metric card, which is the total sales. Now the next metric card that we can create from this data is a profit metric card. Now I'm not going to create it from scratch. So here's a little cheat. You can just copy and paste it and then change the the field from here, so that you don't need to do the formatting again. So over here, I'm just going to select profit here and change the title, of course, to total profit. All right. So these are the two metric cards that we created from the data that we already had. Now, the third one that we are going to create is a profit ratio. So the profit ratio is the profit of the ratio of total profit to total sales. Now we do not have that in this data, but we can create this measure. So we are going to create this measure and then add that to our visualization. Now in order to do that, we are going to click on this new measure and then give this a name, profit ratio. Profit ratio is an aggregated measure, which I mentioned, that is the sum of sales by the sum of profit. There we go, and we have successfully created a calculated measure over here. Now you can see a calculator beside profit ratio. Now we can use this measure to our visualization. We are going to again use the same sheet and copy this, and then add the profit ratio over here, and of course change the title again to profit ratio. All right, so we have successfully created 3 metric cards. Next is we would like to show the sales by country, which we can show it in a matrix, which is kind of similar to the pivot table that we have in our Excel. So many people who use Excel can relate to it. And we are going to add country over here in the rows, and we are going to add sales in the values. Now you see we get the country and the sales. We would also like to add profit ratio over here. Now again, this visualization looks kind of flat, and it doesn't really, to profit ratio got added, it doesn't really give that much information visually. So obviously it gives information, but what we can do is we can add some formatting to this. So what we can do is we can add data labels. So we are going to select this matrix and we are going to conditional formatting, and we'll add some data bars to this. So you see now we have these data bars, and if I sort the sales in descending order, now we can see the data bars against the amount of sales that United States had, giving us the insight that United States had actually had the maximum amount of sales. We can similarly add, I am sorry about the formula that I have used. I have just used, pardon me please, it should be the ratio of profit to sales. That's why I just realized that how it is giving 8. All right, so this just got, I had used sales by profit, but the profit ratio is profit to sales. So now we have this profit ratio over here. Now we are going to add some conditional formatting in this. So we are going to select and we are going to go to the format option and then select profit ratio over here and add font colors to this. Now see, this blue color does not actually give much insight, or it is not that intuitive. We are going to change this color to something in, minimum value would be something like red, and maximum value will be in the shade of green. So we are going to select OK for that, and we can see that we have the sales and profit ratio over here. We are going to sort it and see that United States have the highest sales with profit ratio of 12%. Now we can also add a title to this visualization. We are going to select this visual, and over here we are going to go down and add a title, say sales by country. All right. Okay, so we have created these metric card. We have created this sales by country visual. Up till this point, if you guys have any doubt, please let me know. I'll address some of the questions and move ahead to the next visualizations. Okay, I see that Aditya have already addressed some of the questions. Yeah, profit ratio again. So profit ratio is the ratio of profit to the sales. So that is the calculation that I have used. If I click on this, you can see profit ratio is the sum of profit by sum of sales. Is it clear? I created a new measure by clicking on this new measure icon over here, and then you can put in a formula to do that. Yeah, so if anybody has any doubt, please ask, otherwise I shall proceed. All right, so next visualization that I'm going to show you is a profit by country, which will be a map visual that I'm going to show. So not delaying much, I'm just quickly selecting this map visual over here and resize it, and then add the country to the location, which will obviously take all the countries that are there in the data and plot the countries in the map. And then we are going to select the profit and add it to the tooltip. This is really powerful visual, which actually shows you, you can hover over the regions and then you can see the profit by those countries. Now over here also I'm going to just format this title, you know, to capital letters because all the other titles are in cap. So by country. And I'm also going to add a border to this. So I'm going to add a border to this. So this is the profit by country visual, which is a map. Now next we can create the top cities. So I want to see the top cities by sales. So let's create this column. Let's select this column chart, and then we are going to, you know, select city for this. We're going to select the city in axis, and then we are going to add the sales to the values, which will give a sales by city. We can also add another measure to this, which is a profit over here, and then we can see a sales to profit, you know, side-wise chart. Now I do not want all these cities to be present in the visualization. I just want top 10 cities over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a filter to this visualization. I'm going to select this visualization and I'm going to add filter over here. So I'm going to drag the city over here, and then based on top N filtering, I'm going to select top 10. And on what is this filtering out? On the sales value. This top 10 cities will be filtered out. So I'm going to select the sales over here and apply a filter to this. And like rest of the other visualizations, I'm going to add a border over here. And you can see that we have the sales and profit by city, which shows the top 10 cities over here. Now, as I mentioned earlier, that there is a Q&A feature which you can leverage. You can ask the Power BI some question and the Power BI will show you the visualization. So I'm going to do that. So I'm going to ask Power BI, what is the sales by category? And I want to see it in a pie chart. So let it load. So I'm going to ask, what is the sales? It takes some time to load. So okay, what is the sales by category? I want to see it in a pie chart. So you see, when I ask Power BI the question, Power BI will not refuse to answer this, and I'm sure it will give me a pie chart. Yeah, see. So Power BI has given me a pie chart. You can see the categories over here. You can see the legends. So I am satisfied with this, and I'm going to hit this icon over here so that I tell Power BI that, okay, this is what I wanted. And I'm going to resize this as well. And you see the legends over here. You can see that technology has the highest amount of sales over here. Okay, I have some questions. Okay. So yeah, cool indeed. So let's move on to the next visualization. Okay, so let us add some formatting to this as well. We'll add a border over here. It looks good. You know, you should always maintain the standard for these visualization. Whenever you do something for one visualization, you should do it for the others as well. You shouldn't be partial. Okay, so next is we are going to show the sales trend. Now for sales trend, we are going to add this trend line visualization. We are going to resize this a bit, and then what are we going to show over here is we are going to show the order date. We are going to select this order date over here, and then we are going to show the sales trend, right? So that is the values that we are going to put. Now we can see that there is an upward trend in the visualization in the data. From 2011 to 2014, the sales have been increasing. Now this is at the topmost hierarchy, topmost level, which is the year in a date hierarchy. We can go down a level and then we can see the quarters. We can go even further and see the monthly sales. Now over here, we can also show the forecast to this data visualization. So if we go to the analytics pane over here, we can add a forecast line, which is the 10 points, which will show the next 10 months sales over here. We can also add average line, we can add minimum line, we can add maximum line. So it will basically show the minimum sales that has happened, it will show the maximum sales, and it's also going to show the average sales. So now from this lines, you can see that what is the minimum sales that has happened for this data from 2011 to 2014. Now similarly, for the other visuals that we did, we are going to format this, add a border over here. And of course, like this title doesn't look good, so I'm going to change this title to sales trend. To select everything and change this title to sales trend. So these are the visualizations that we could have created from this sales data. We can create, of course, many more, but these are some of the things that give some insight. So we can see the total sales, we can see the total profit, the profit ratio, what are the sales by category, which country has the highest sales, which country has the highest profit. You can also see the top 10 cities, and we can see that Manila has kind of negative profit over here. Now, how to make these visualizations interactive? So a very important thing to add to our visualizations are filters. So let's go ahead and create some filter to our visualization. So we are going to select this slicer option from the visualization pane, and I'm going to resize this a bit and then add country over here, so that people can, whoever is the audience of this report, can actually select the country they want to see. So by default, I get a drop list of countries. I do not want that. I want to change it to a drop down over here. Now, like the other visuals, obviously I want a border to this also. So I'm going to give a border. Next, I'm going to again copy this because I'm not going to do it from scratch. So I'm going to copy this filter over here and then add a year filter to this. This is the date hierarchy that I have got. So by default, when you convert a data type to date in Power BI, it converts to a hierarchy. And I'm going to, okay, I'll just shift this a bit. And I'm going to select a copy and then create another filter. Which will give the month. So I have already used the year filter. Now I'm going to use the month filter. I'm going to increase the size of the text box. There we go. And I'm going to text box again. So now we can see that we have the filters in place. We have all the visuals in place. And then if you select, say I want to select Singapore, of course, I'll select Singapore and see what is the sales trend over here. So you see that for Singapore, all the when I select Singapore, all the visualizations are changing accordingly, and we can see that there has been this much amount of sales, this much amount of profit. I can also add, say, for example, I want to see only the Singapore sales for 2014. I can select any of the year, I can select month, and then look into the visualizations that how each visualization is changing. So I'll deselect everything And I'm going to show you that how each visualizations interact with each other also. So just a moment, this is a bit slow. Yeah. So now I have deselected all the things again, whichever I had selected. And now if I click on, say, United States over here, you will see that when I select United States, all the other visuals change accordingly. So this is how each visuals are interactive amongst each other. So this is what I showed in the beginning, and this is what we came up at the end, creating all these visualizations with the Excel that we had, which were just numbers. And of course, the stories, you know what to tell out of this, that you have the total sales, you have the total profit, so on and so forth. So I'll address some of the questions. There are so again, I see that Aditya has already answered few of the questions. Okay, so Aditya, I'll pass it over to you, and maybe if there are more questions at the end, we can address them. So I'll just stop sharing my screen and let Aditya take it over.
Yeah, sure. So let me just share my screen really quickly. So I have a bunch of questions, which essentially I shall answer, which I've noted down from the chat. In the meantime, let me just quickly share my screen and talk a little bit about the road ahead before I essentially take to the questions. Right. So first of all, thank you, Pranjal and Gauri, for talking about the way Power BI can work on data, and you can make life a lot easier through dashboards, reports, and visuals. Just want to make sure before I move ahead, everybody can hear me and can see my screen. I'll just take about a few minutes, and then we'll close off after that. I know we're running a little bit over time, but that's okay. I guess as long as all of you are sticking around. Okay. So this session was basically to show you a little bit about how Power BI can be a lifesaver in terms of a tool which can help you work on your data, drive analytics, and so on. And how do we essentially fit into this whole equation is that for all of you out there, we basically since Pranjal mentioned earlier that we are a company which does a lot of training, we provide a path for you to embark on, which helps you address some of the digital transformation questions in your organization, or for you to personally upskill. And in lieu of that, we basically provide two roadmaps for people who are interested to embark on that journey, depending on the tool of their choice. So be it Python on the data science structure, or be it Tableau, Excel, or Power BI on the business analytics roadmap. All of these tools would help you drive analytics based on your role in the organization, based on the experience you possess. Also, for all those who are interested to know more about us and about all these different tools, what we do is we essentially conduct full day sessions on a Saturday for those who want to learn about the tool top to bottom. And when I say top to bottom, it's literally a rigorous hands-on session, and at the end of the day, all of you will be essentially ready to use the tool in the organization. So that's one thing we do after these kind of webinars to raise interest. So the link to essentially go ahead and learn more about those sessions are on the screen in front of you. You can scan the QR code, you can take down the link, and feel free to get back to us in case you have more questions. All the details are on the link. So do go ahead and have a look at them. If you're interested, do go ahead and sign up to them. And the target audience is, beginners, people who want to explore more, learn more about the tool itself. Okay. So, with that, I'd like to thank both the speakers for today for their time and, for them, coming ahead and sharing their valuable experience with us. And, thanks to all of you who took, your precious time, your valuable time out of your schedule, after work or be it early morning and, come up to attend. In terms of, the questions, I have noted down some of the questions and, I will, along with the speakers, be addressing some of them, before we sign off. And for the recording, we'll be sending all of you guys the recording post the webinar, most probably by tomorrow. And, you will, can essentially relook that in case you want to learn more. So I'm just going to get to the questions, and, in case you guys have any more, keep them coming, and, we'll answer those questions. So let me get to some of those questions, and I'll ask both of the speakers, I request both the speakers to stay online so that, you guys can take some of them. So the first question was, how does Power BI differ from Tableau? So, Power BI and Tableau basically are two different tools used to do reporting and visualization. Now, the difference is that, any organization who is embarking on such a journey takes on a certain set of tools based on their ecosystem. So if you're, on the Microsoft ecosystem, Power BI becomes a natural tool to essentially take on because of its cost, because of, the ease of use, which you saw today. So cost-wise, Power BI is almost 5 times cheaper than Tableau. Tableau, on the other hand, has, at least as of now, a little bit more scale than Power BI, very little, but again, it's quite expensive, as compared to Power BI. So Tableau is another thing we're doing on the 4th. So, anybody interested can sign up. The registrations are still open. If you wanted to know a difference between Tableau and Power BI. Right. In terms of using, okay, there's another question. Can you show how to use another visualization from outside Power BI? I think, the simple answer to that is we'll probably not take that up on the screen, but you could essentially just import, go to the marketplace from Power BI. It's a, ellipsis there on the visualization pane. You can go ahead, import any visual from the marketplace. I think later on, I can send across some links where you can essentially go in and, see how to do that. And you can just use the visual like, anything else. Another question, I think Ernest posted that earlier, was in Power BI, other than streaming data, can you really create a real-time dashboard? I mean, the answer to that is, real-time dashboards are always nearly real-time. It's very, very difficult for any tool to, have exactly real-time. So Power BI alone does not have the capability, but Power BI used along with certain other tools from the Microsoft, along with some of the Microsoft tools like, real-time streaming, for example, can be used to get near real-time results. Right. Okay. I had a question earlier from Gilbert who said, can R be used for data storytelling? Now, R is a good tool, but R is primarily used in research because it's good for statistical analysis, and that's where it's primarily used. For storytelling, I would potentially advise you to use easier tools. In R, you can, but the effort is more. Tools like these help you bridge that effort to make it much more easier for you to essentially do storytelling. And another question from Ernest was, is there a standard way of cleaning the data? Cleaning essentially depends on the kind of data you have. There are some standard practices in terms of cleaning, which essentially entails things like you normalizing the data, you getting rid of missing values, you making sure that there is nothing logically too high or too low. So there are certain things like this which you would stand from a standard perspective to. But if you have, let's say, text data, now you're going to apply other methods like removing unwanted pieces of text and stuff like that. So it really depends on the data. But yes, there are some standard measures. There's no standard way. Now, let me take some other questions from the chat. Hamza, yes, we'll forward you these schedules for the webinar. Thanks for your compliment. We will forward you the schedule as well for some of the other webinars. Ernest, yes, PBI itself has a refresh time, but as I said, when you couple it with real-time streaming, which is another Microsoft service, you can actually get near real-time results on that. Does our course cover how to use Python on Excel for data cleaning? Yes, in our Python series, we do cover that, as part of the course itself. So, for more details, if you could go to the link, it will show you, it will talk about, certain things from that perspective. One-day workshop, our workshop is completely hands-on, so you will get the experience on the workshop. I mean, you could definitely, in certain aspects mention that you have a beginner experience with the tool. Once you do that, obviously now, you could put it to practice and then, put forward your own projects and stuff which you do with it post the session in your CV. So that's something you could definitely pick up from there. Okay, great. I think, okay, is Power BI an open source? Power BI is not open source. Power BI is a Microsoft tool. And there is a free version of Microsoft Power BI, which you can download from, from the website and try it. Obviously, when it's a free version, there would be certain restrictions. The restrictions basically lie when you want to start sharing your reports and collaborating with other people in your organization. But the free version is good enough to try out. Do you need to know SQL to do Power BI? You don't really need to know SQL to do Power BI, at least, for a basic level, because what Power BI has is, within Power BI, you have something known as, DAX, which is, a small language within Power BI to basically do queries and to, create measures like Gauri showed you earlier. And it doesn't really entail you knowing Power BI, so that's not a prerequisite. Yeah, Monica, you can go ahead and download the tool. You can, explore it by yourself, and it would help you a little bit before the workshop as well. Power BI desktop is not possible to download for Mac. It's only a Windows thing. Although what you can do is for Mac, you can go to app.powerbi.com and you can use the Power BI public version to basically do the same thing we did today. There would be certain things you cannot do, but for the most part, it's something which can be used. So please use the Power BI cloud version for Mac OS. So that's app.powerbi.com. The one-day workshop, yes, is for Pramesh, sorry, is a paid workshop. So yes, that would be paid. Can you use SQL and Power BI Tableau? Yes, you can use SQL and Power BI and Tableau. Both of them, are good for doing data modeling. At least Power BI is better than Tableau to do data modeling to a certain extent, and that's something you can essentially do with the tool. Gauri, do you want to take up the next question? So that's, do you recommend any learning tools for Power BI?
Well, if you start off with a beginner level Power BI, I think basic knowledge of Excel would be fine. You do not need any other tools to learn along.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So basic knowledge of Excel is what Gauri says. So that's something which I'm sure you would have been doing a lot. Can you look for a job after taking course in Power BI and Tableau? I mean, there is a lot of demand for sure in terms of data visualization analytics. Obviously, the course is not the ultimate thing which is going to land you a job. The course is, a bridge to help you get to the other side, to help you learn faster, accelerate your learning. So, I mean, as I said, it does not directly entail that you will, land up in a job after you take the course, but it's a good start. So if you are completely new, it'll help you, get on this journey, and there's a lot of demand. So, ultimately it'll help you look for a job. Okay, so in terms of YouTube channels or videos or reading materials, for reading materials, the Microsoft Power BI documentation is good enough for you to start off reading some of the stuff. In terms of YouTube channels, there are a few of them out there, but the most of them will essentially show you how things are done. To get the hands-on experience, you really have to sit down and do it. That's the only difference. We have a YouTube channel on which we post some of the tips and tricks of Power BI and certain things you can do with Power BI. So you could head to our YouTube channel as well. It's with the same name, Exaltius. So you'd get a few things from there. Okay, I think for any more questions, you can directly write into us on our email address, which is info@exaltius.tech. You could follow our pages and send us a message there as well. We'll be happy to answer them. We've run about 20 minutes over schedule, but I hope you guys had a good time, and there was some learning. And I would again like to thank the speakers for their time and for sharing their knowledge with everyone. I personally learned a few things as well today. So thank you all for your comments. I think that helps us a lot going into the future. Do join our Tableau session if you're interested. You'll get a link to join that in my follow-up email. And stay safe and keep learning during this time. Take care. And it's a good night from most of us here. For those people who are starting off their day, a very good day to all of you. Have a good day ahead. Thank you. Thank you, speakers, as well.